Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gun Culture Radio. This time, instead of having Zeke talk at you guys and make you aware of the sponsor, I figured I would just do it myself. The sponsor for this podcast is SDI, Sonoran Desert Institute. You can check them out at sdi.edu. It's a really cool opportunity if you're interested in being a gunsmith. They have some other firearms technology degrees. Just check out their website. They do take GI Bill, so any veterans out there, it's a cool opportunity. You know, you can't hate a job, in the gun industry. I assume a lot of people listening to the show are gun nuts just like me. It's cool to be able to have a job doing something that you love. Turning a hobby into a job is the true American dream. It's not 2 cars in every garage and a white picket fence. It's having a job that you love. That's the American dream right there, and that should be everyone's dream. That should be the human dream, not just the American dream. Anyways, check that out, sdi.edu. Really appreciate them for the sponsorship. This show is not cheap to make. So anyways, appreciate that. And we also appreciate our other sponsor, Ballistol. As you guys probably know, we've used this stuff for a long time, long before the YouTube days. It's a cleaner and a lubricant. It's great on firearms. It's even good at preserving firearms. If you have an old gun with a little bit of rust on it and you want to get that rust off with some steel wool, but you want to do it smoothly without further damaging the finish any more than you absolutely have to, Ballistol works great for that. It's also good just in the house. It works great for leather furniture, wood. It really darkens it up and makes it look really rich. It's just a really great and overall multi-use lubricant, and it really protects all your metal, keeps it from rusting. It's a great product. Used it for a long time and really appreciate them supporting the show, and I hope you guys appreciate that too. And just check them out at ballistol.com. I hope you guys enjoy the show. All right, we're back on the radio. And tnoutdoors9 is here again. So, all right. So, finish telling me this story you were telling me earlier about how you were glad or you wish that there was a cooling off period, a waiting period, because you just get so angry when you buy your guns.
It's a little known fact. I have a huge bad temper. And usually it's on Fridays. And I think, I got some money. I got paid today. I want to go buy a gun.
Yeah.
So, I take my attitude in the gun store. And, right off the bat, the person selling the gun has been trained to, kind of feel out the person. You got the paperwork and all. Yeah. But they're kind of looking at me thinking, God, this guy's just nuts. I think the fact that I'm yelling at customers in the gun store is probably an issue. The fact I'm walking around with a coonskin cap and camouflage and tactical black boots.
And the coonskin, is it that coonskin cap that you have that's like lined with aluminum foil on the inside?
Yes, and it's battery operating. The tail wiggles.
Oh,
I think
you showed me that.
Makes odd noises.
Yeah.
So it's been written up in the local paper a couple of times.
Yeah.
I've had some issues with that. So as far as the waiting period, obviously in Tennessee right now, we don't have that. It's instant background check. It works fine. It stops people from buying guns who aren't supposed to get guns. The thing is, you can lie on the paperwork.
Yeah.
Have you been declared mentally deficient or whatnot, which my wife accuses me of that from time to time. But outside of that, there's no court record of me being declared mentally deficient.
Right.
So, and that's a problem with the check now is that you can lie on some things because the system doesn't track those. But you weren't buying guns back when we had the waiting period here in Tennessee. It was either 3 or 5 days, which was inconvenient because I really wanted the gun that day.
Yeah.
Because I was mad.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Had to have the gun. But it was inconvenient because at that time, and you may not remember, this was 10, 15, almost 20 years ago, and there were not a lot of gun stores in the Nashville area. So I was having to drive 20, 30 minutes just to get to a gun store that might have inventory that was competitive. And in those days, bless their hearts, these guys and gals were charging basically whatever they wanted. There was no competition.
Yeah.
So I go in, buy the gun. This is what I want. You go ahead and pay for it, and then
gotta wait.
It's like, well, we'll call you in 5 days. Well, I can't remember if it was 3 or 5. I honestly don't remember.
I'm thinking it was 5.
It may have been.
Yeah, because I remember. I obviously wasn't buying guns at the time, but I remember Dad talking about it and it being like a thing that was.
Oh, and can you imagine how he felt when he's buying a gun as mad as he gets?
Oh man,
and buying a gun about every week.
Yeah. I mean, really, it saved lives.
Oh, it did, because this was back in the day before you were born, or about the time you were born. I was up,
Yeah, so I was making him extra angry,
Right.
I was a little kid,
my gosh. Just the video we have of you when you were 3 and 4 years old, and the things you did to your diapers that just really set him off.
Oh, man.
And he said, I got to go buy a gun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
John's just really
I
messed up.
have to end the life of something.
We would be shooting, we'd take a break, and he'd come out and say, I just went inside. John's really messed up the diaper. I got to go buy a gun. So,
Yeah.
those were the days.
But see, I knew that if I did that, he would have to buy guns, and eventually I would get to have those. So
right. And that's worked out well for you.
that was the strategy.
That's worked out very well for you.
It has very well. Yeah. What's funny is the waiting period thing. Almost the only good it could ever do is just financially. You know what I mean? Because you like get the hots for like a gun. And it's like whatever $2,500 or something, and like that would be the only possible good I could ever see out of the waiting period.
You talk about for the gun stores as far as reporting, revenue.
Yeah. Now, no. I'm talking about like on a personal level. Now, obviously, it's stupid. There should never ever be a waiting period for a gun. I don't care if it's full auto or what it is. It's retarded. It never makes sense in any context. But all I'm saying is, like, if we still lived in a situation where we had to have that,
some people do.
Yeah, that's right. Some states do have that. The only good I can see is that it probably would have saved me some money in a few situations, because you know what I'm saying? Like if a gun I really got the hots for, instead of buying it right then, I would have been like, well, I'm not going to have it for 5 days, so do I really want it,
So you're talking about impulse purchase of guns.
Right.
Which that's a good topic. How many people have ever done that?
Oh, I've done that so many times.
Regardless of whether or not you have a waiting period.
Yeah.
So you're in the gun store, say, I'll stop in here and see what they got. And you find something you really like. You kind of look at it. You feel a grip. Oh, I like this. Obviously, you don't get out and shoot it.
Right.
But I've done that. I did that with a Glock 30 several years ago. There was a local, they're still in business, local range here in the Nashville area. And I wanted a Glock 30. At the time, I didn't have a 45. So I went to this store. They had a rental gun. And I went out in the range and indoor range and shot the rental gun Glock 30. And I remember the first time I shot that, I'm thinking, my gosh, this feels like a 38.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it, how soft shooting that thing was.
Yeah.
So ran, 100, 200 rounds through it, 30 minutes. and then bought whatever range ammo I could and went back to the counter, turned it in, and they said, what do you think? I said, do you have one? He said, yeah, I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought one right there. So it was impulse.
Yeah.
And, of course, the ability to be able to shoot it was a selling point for me.
Right.
But I think the way I felt that day, and I bet a lot of people watching or listening have done the same thing. You're going to buy that gun even if you don't get to shoot it on it or try it out.
Right.
Or something similar. You're just going to buy it.
Yeah, something just clicks with you. Or like what gets me is if it's something I wasn't expecting to see. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, I didn't even consider that specific configuration. I have to have that.
So, has this happened to anyone where they've walked into a gun store and they know that they have their mindset on buying something that day? They know what they want. If the store has it, if the price is competitive and so forth, they're going to buy it.
Yeah.
How many times does it happen to someone where you walk in with that mindset, but you're detoured and buy something else because you saw something that was odd?
Right.
Maybe it was a Mosin that got, an M44 or a 9159. I've done that.
Yeah.
Where I walked into a pawn shop I'd never been in before because I didn't really shop those places, but they're gold mines.
Yeah.
And I walked in. I really wasn't wanting to buy anything, but I saw some Mosins and I looked at it and I said, this one looks different. And I saw the markings is at 9159. And this is before I was somewhat of an expert on Mosins, which I'm not. But I looked at it, I said, what the heck is a 9159? And I saw it was chopped, and I'm thinking, this is something odd. And I just looked it up, and I put my hand on it, and the gun store owner walked over and said, are you interested in that? And I said, yeah. I put my hand on it so nobody else buys it. I think I want this.
Yeah.
I just think it was $300 out the door. So, yeah, it was a 9159. I said, well, this is more rare than the 44.
Yeah.
So I walked into place, not used to doing business with a pawn shop. It just wasn't my forte at the time. And then found something that was of real interest that I thought was of value.
Yeah.
And that was, I would have felt bad had I walked out of that store and not bought that rifle.
Yeah.
Because I would have gotten home, call your dad, hey, I passed up a 9150. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, this was a couple of years ago, he bought one the same week.
Yeah.
Because he posted a video on it. We both bought 9159s that's almost the same day.
Yeah. I know. It's funny, isn't it?
Which is weird.
It's it's like you don't know what you want until you see it, kind of thing. Like that happens to me with guns. Like I have like ADD when it comes to guns. I always have a gun in mind that's like, yeah, this is my next purchase. Like I've decided, like the Glock 21 is like that for me. I've kind of decided the 21 is probably going to be one of the next guns I buy. That and an AK of some kind. And I've kind of been thinking that for a while now, but I've probably bought like 2 or 3 guns since then that aren't that, just because it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. No, I think I have to have that. Like that AR that Car 15 that I bought up at Bud's when we were up there. Like I wasn't planning on buying another AR. I've got plenty of ARs, but I just saw it and gotta have it. I have to. Like I started imagining myself with it, so I was like, I gotta take it home.
I don't do that so much with guns, but I have pretty much a set list. It's a short list of what I'd like to buy now for guns. For me, it's more with accessories or ammo. And I bet folks have that disease as well.
Yeah.
Where right now I'm really wanting to get an Atlas bipod. And someone might say, well, what's wrong with a Harris bipod? Well, it's about half the cost, and I think the Atlas bipod is a better product for what I want to put it on, which is an AR, a heavy AR, kind of a sniper style AR.
If you're gonna buy stuff like that, go ahead and get.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, of course, I can go online right now. I could sit here right now and buy it, the Atlas bipod, but the stores in this area that used to stock them don't anymore.
Well, you could probably give out your credit card information, and one of the fans would buy it for you.
Just a second.
You could do that.
Get that here.
Yeah, I mean, you might have 15 of them all bought in your credit card.
But see, the thing is, I want to see the product. Back when it was in the store, and I'm walking past it every other day on my impulse shopping trips, I would see the Atlas bipod sitting there, and I'm like, yeah, it's $250, $300. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But now I want one so bad I can't stand it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what will happen, I bet this happens to folks, you go out and you buy the gun that we've been talking about,
right,
and then it sits at home for 3 or 4 weeks and you don't even get it out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So the same thing with the Atlas. If I go buy the Atlas bipod, if I order it right now, or I find it somewhere local or at a gun show, not likely, around here in the next few weeks, what's going to happen? I'm going to get busy, travel. I might get to it in March or April.
Yeah.
As far as doing some things with it. I just think it's just a good product for how I want to shoot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just weird.
I'm like that with my thing is, and everyone knows this that listens to me or watches my videos. I'm not like a big, tactical guy or whatever, but I've had this idea for years about what I thought the ultimate handgun, like home defense nightstand setup would be. I've always thought the best, one of the coolest options would be to get a plate carrier with rifle plates in it, all right, and then have a chest holster on the plate carrier with a Glock 21 stuck in it, have extra magazines on the carrier, and maybe even whatever rifle or shotgun you have laying around. Like I keep an AR, by my bed. They have a couple AR magazines in it, so that way, that if you hear something go bump in the night, you don't have to fish for. Oh, and also have things like flashlights and maybe even cell phone on it. That way, like I could literally be just butt naked, just throw that vest on, and I've got everything I need to handle anything that happens. And I've been wanting to set that up forever, and I just haven't gotten around to it. That's kind of one of the things I'm thinking about doing.
I was on board with that until you got to buck naked, and that's where it stopped. But
yeah,
what you're kind of leading into reminds me of a scene from the Police Academy movies, probably the first or second one, which were the better ones, or the first one. I can't remember. Was it Tackleberry? Yeah, was it Tackleberry? Remember that? This may be before your time.
I've seen the Police Academy movies. Okay. Not all of them, but it's been a long time.
This may be the first one. It was Tackleberry, the big guy and the real gun fanatic of all the officers in that group, in that squad. Okay. And just the scene where he's getting ready to go to bed with some woman, and they're both real big gun fanatics, and they're just playing it up in the movie. And when they're taking their clothes off, they're just dropping flashlights and guns.
Oh,
and
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's falling on the floor and stuff.
Yeah. I was just thinking, okay, that's not how I live, but anyway. That's kind of the scene I had in mind until you got to the buck naked part and you lost me there.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. You sleep on a bed of ammo, right?
Oh, my gosh.
Your ammo is made out of bed? Man, your ammo is made out of bed. Your bed is made out of ammo.
I have ammo in so many rooms of the house, and in the garage, in a gun safe. I mean, I have more ammo than your dad. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Is that why there's like that plaque at your local fire department that says, if this house is on fire, just
OSHA has a GPS tag on my house.
Yeah, like don't try to save anyone in that house, just save the people in the houses around it.
Before the ammo goes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have ammo. Talking about ammo, stocking up ammo. Who stocks up ammo and what calibers?
Everyone should do that. I know.
You think so?
I think so.
What's the rationale behind that?
Well, okay, people will tell you all kinds of different things. My thinking is, when it comes to like the prepper stuff, I think that it's reasonable. I mean, everyone has a different idea of what's reasonable, but I think what makes sense is to be prepared for like to not leave your house for like 3 months. I can't say that I'm there with my preps, but I'm working on it. But 3 months I feel like is reasonable, because if things get screwed up for longer than 3 months, you're probably going to have to move. You're probably not going to be able to just camp out in your house if things stay that bad.
Do you think 15 to 20 years worth of ammo is a little over the top?
No, not at all.
Okay,
no,
that's me.
No, but
I'm not kidding.
Well, what I was going to say is, when it comes to ammo, I think to me, I'm talking about minimums here, obviously. For whatever your go-to, run to the hills rifle is, like at least 1,000 rounds. And then also something that I feel like some people forget is magazines. Like 1,000 rounds doesn't do you any good if you only got 5 magazines. You need magazines to be able to load them. And then with your handgun, maybe like 500, something like that. Shotgun, maybe, I don't know, around the same. Something like that. But then also you got to think about, well, what if like that's all the ammo that exists is all the ammo there's ever going to be?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I think about. And you look at just in the last 3 or 4 years, we've had at least 2 periods of prolonged ammo scarcity.
Yeah.
And that gets into different calibers. You can go look at the blogs. You can remember walking into the stores 2 years ago where there was handgun ammo. What calibers was it? Do you remember?
Like the calibers that were available?
And handgun ammo. Now, rifle ammo, it was 300 Win Mag. So if you wanted to buy 300, if you were shooting 300 Win Mag in factory ammo, that was the time to buy the ammo. It was all that was on the shelf. But handgun ammo, it was 40 and 45.
That's right. 40 was pretty available, I remember. Yeah.
22 obviously was gone. It still really hasn't made a full comeback in most places. But it was the 40 and the 45, 9 millimeter.
Yeah, 9 and 223 it seems like the first ones to go.
And those are, if someone were to ask me, if you were to ask me right now, you can ask me right now, what my primary stock up calibers would be.
Tommy, what are your primary stock up calibers?
Thank you for asking. 9 millimeter and 223/5.56. And if I can find a good deal on quantities of 5.56, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a mindset I started, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago. Then as I started making videos with other calibers, I really deviated from that. Now I'm paying for it because I've stocked up on other calibers, which isn't a bad thing. I think you need to look at, if you can pull it off, if you can, because it's an investment. But I don't take big vacations. We don't do anything. So I don't have boats. I don't do all this other stuff. So it goes to guns and ammo and everything else.
And the 26-inch rims on your Jeep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the one splurge that you do.
Yeah, that and taking care of that big furry creature every once in a while when he needs money. But other than that, I started 10 or 15 years ago looking at 223, 5.56, 9 millimeter, and I've got some ammo cans. I'll put a date. I'll do an inventory. I'll take all the paper boxes and dump all the ammo in a can. Put a card in there that says the date and the quantity. And I've got cans from 2006, 2007 that might have 2,000 rounds of 9 millimeter ball, full metal jacket or whatnot. So there's a lot of that, but I've done the same thing with 223 and 5.56 for stock up. I mean, a lot of reasons. One, because I think the calibers are effective.
Yeah.
If I had to use 223 or 5.56 for hunting to put food on the table in a zombie situation, I could do that.
Yep.
We know that both calibers are effective for self-defense. We know that you can use those in high-capacity magazines, at least where we live. You can do that. But
and think about in a end of the world scenario the trade possibilities.
Well, yeah, that's going to be barter. I mean, what will money be worth anything?
Yeah,
you may have all kinds of money in the bank, but is that going to be worth anything? Will the bank still be?
Yeah,
you can speculate on all that type of stuff all day long, but
even gold. Like I don't get gold. Like I don't maybe a little bit, but I don't get like big investments in like precious metals like gold and silver. Because if things go so bad to where gold is like the only thing that's valuable, or it seems like probably pretty close to things being so bad to where no one's going to want gold either. I don't know.
Somebody asked me what I invest in, I tell them precious metals. I just don't tell them it's copper, brass, and lead.
That's right.
So that's how I look. I mean, really, I don't invest in gold.
Yeah, because gold, it's really useful for some things, but nothing that like regular people can do.
Can you make it go 3,000 feet per second?
No.
I
Well,
can't.
technically, I guess you could, but
You can load up a gold bullet, but
Yeah.
I'm looking for something that has utility. But I
Right.
think, and I hope I never have to use any of that ammo.
Yeah.
But I look at the fact that my neighbors, a lot of my neighbors shoot. No one has as much ammo as I do,
Yeah.
so they be coming to my house. Well, there'll be some rules. What can you bring to the table
Right.
if you're going to hang out around here? So that's a whole nother dialogue, a whole nother discussion. But ammo, 9mm, 223, 5.56, 22, because it's not as inexpensive as it was 3 or 4 years ago or 10 years
Yeah.
ago, as is the case with other ammo. But you get a lot for your dollar.
right.
So you talk about the 1,000 rounds you mentioned a moment ago. Do your value proposition or your numbers that you're setting for yourself for ammo, does that number deviate based on what caliber you're talking about? It almost has to in some
Yeah,
cases. But
it's true.
1,000 rounds of 22, if you're in a zombie firefight, is going to last an hour and a half,
Yeah.
3 hours as you burn up your Ruger 1022.
Yeah.
25 round BMX mag. So you got that going. But 9mm, 223, 5.56, 12 gauge, and
Yeah.
that's an area I am not real strong in that right now. I have 4 shotguns, but I don't. And I want. That's another thing. Somebody says, "Well, what about 20 gauge or 16 gauge?" One, that ammo that's hard to find. It seems like to me it's a little more expensive than 20 gauge.
Most people
or
don't
rather
have
12 gauge.
And most people don't have those calibers in
No,
like
they don't.
tactical shotguns.
I want to have. Yeah, why?
Yeah.
So I that's an area for me that's really weak right now is 12 gauge shells. So I'm trying to work on that, but.
It's pretty cheap if you buy like the birdshot stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And and that stuff, it's considered the cheap ammo, but even that Winchester or Federal, like those 100 packs or whatever that you can buy for like $20 at Walmart, not once have I ever had a misfire or a bad round.
No, I mean, right now, I've been buying the military grade buckshot, which it's a green hull.
Yeah, I got some of that.
Yeah,
Stuff's cool.
you can get that, and it's relatively inexpensive, and it's double aught buck.
Yeah.
So you can debate all day long as far as birdshot and self defense. I mean, it can work. It has worked.
Yeah.
But is it your first choice? No, it's not for mine.
No.
So I'm looking at getting my ammo supply for shotgun stocked up. But because I've been making so many videos in different calibers, I was basically a 2 or 3 caliber guy 7 or 8 years ago. But now I've added all these other calibers for the purpose making videos and just diversifying. So I've got a secondary tier of stock up ammo, and it's 7.62 by 39, 7.62 54R for the Mosin, and see what else, 40, 45, and here's one that most people don't even think about or know about is 357 SIG.
Yeah.
I think that's an awesome caliber, and I've got more than my share of ammo because that was another caliber that was on the shelf back during the height of the ammo shortage. No one knows what it is. I've seen people buying it, and I'll strike up a conversation. So you're looking for 357 SIG? Yeah. I just bought this revolver. No, that's not what you want.
Yeah.
It's like, don't make the mistake because you can't return the ammo. So
Right.
please, so what's wrong with this ammo? I don't see 357 Magnum. Well, that's not the same as this. And I don't want to have that big, long conversation explaining the difference, but say, no, this is for a semi-auto.
Yeah.
You can shove it in there, but it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
So but I try to, and I'm trying to get back simple. I'm looking right now more 9mm because I'm going to be training with that, practicing with that, but more 9mm, 223, 5.56 shotgun, 22 if I see a deal, but I'm not going to overpay for it.
Yeah.
I can do without it if I have to.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's important to have that secondary tier if you can pull it off
Yeah.
for these other calibers, whether it's handguns or rifles. I think I'm leaving one out. I got rid of the 10mm, so that's not on the list. But when I say secondary tier, it could be 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 rounds or more of each one of those calibers.
Yeah.
But the primary tier is just ungodly. It's off the map.
Yeah. I can imagine.
No, you can't.
Okay. I can't imagine.
No, it's just.
can
But I've
attempt.
got ammo everywhere, and it's. It's everywhere. It's on the desk. It's in the bedroom. The bedroom's really bad right now with
Yeah.
ammo. I mean, they're literally cans stacked up.
Maybe we should shoot an episode of ammo hoarders.
That's a great idea.
We should do that.
Well, it would be myself, your dad, 22 Plinkster. Who else? Who else out there in YouTube world do we think is hoarding ammo? I bet Eric, Iraq
Maybe
veteran.
Jeff from Gunblast.
Yeah, I think he's one of the guys that may surprise you. I bet he has, and the thing is, he probably has a lot for lever guns.
Yeah.
That's just my guess.
Yeah, but
knowing
he
those
does.
guys, they're real big on that. So I bet they've got a lot of lever gun ammo. I bet Eric, those guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's probably got all of us beat.
Probably.
There's some other folks out there that you have to think have a lot of ammo. But I mean, here I am talking about it online and on the air and whatnot. I just don't.
Well, here's like
It's
we like us, public gun people have kind of given up some of our privacy, at least being, the government knows that we probably have guns and ammo. So I don't think that they're going to come after us any harder or less if they know we have more or less than they thought. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but and somebody says, well, I buy all my ammo at the gun show and pay cash, so no one knows I have it.
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't worry about that too much, to be honest. I mean, I don't want the government involved in my business. They don't have a right to know that kind of stuff. But I also don't sit around and worry about it. It's just if things are so bad to where you need that ammo, like need it, not just for fun. I think the government's going to have bigger issues than like finding you. You know what I mean?
I think there are other things in this world that people can stock up on, like Gen 2 Glocks.
Yep.
I think there's other things in this world. I had to get that in. I think there's other things in this world that are, it's hard to say this, more dangerous than ammo.
Yeah.
But that are sick that people might be stocking up on.
Yeah.
If they can, that's their prerogative. They want to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, really, this is where I invest my money, is in ammo.
Yeah.
I like it. I like shooting it. I like storing it. Family's not too crazy about it. But then, like you pointed out a moment ago, it could be, and I hope it's not, a bartering item.
Yeah.
Where am I going to have, a lot of food sitting around that I can, trade off with folks or whatnot? Or
it's always going to be valuable. Like the only thing that could happen that would hurt the value of your ammo would be if all of a sudden just like almost the whole country decided they loved guns and they opened up a ton of new plants and they were just producing ammo like crazy. And like that'd be the only thing that could hurt the value of it, and that's like insanely unlikely to happen. And even if it did, it wouldn't become worthless. It would just become less valuable.
Yeah.
So more than likely, it's going to become more valuable over time.
Yeah, and I've sold some guns to individuals. I know Michael Bloomberg won't like hearing that, but I've sold some guns to individuals, and in some cases, if it's a caliber that I'm getting rid of, and I'll admit, a 10 millimeter was one, a 357 Magnum was another, a 380 was another.
Yeah.
I've moved those out of my field of view. They're not in my lens anymore. I got rid of those. And what ammo I had, which in some cases was a crap ton, that was part of the deal.
Yeah.
And as the buyer in those cases, was it attracted to them to get 52,000 rounds of three? No, but was it attracted to them to get a lot of ammo? I think it was, but I'm pretty sure I undersold the value of the package of the kit that I was selling. But what do you do? It's like I'm not going to use this. I gave your dad some ammo for a couple of calibers, but other than that, it's one thing I did. Something I'm working on right now with AR. Folks are saying they stock up AR or 223 or 556 or anything else that works in the platform. I've kind of got a project that I haven't been able to get to because I was in a coma for a while, but I'm trying to get to a project where I want to see what is most accurate in my various barrel length ARs with different twist rates. I wonder if anybody ever frets over that. I mean, probably not.
No, I don't think so.
I know you don't, but
I think people don't even pay attention to the twist word. What? It doesn't
I know,
matter,
and it's a whole that's a big topic. But I'm looking at I know what works in my 16-inch ARs.
Yeah.
With a 1 to 9 twist, the basic. It's 55 grain and 200-300 yards. I found that just standard full metal jacket, even mil spec, works pretty good, 5.56. The Hornady VMAX 223 does really well. So I've got that kind of figured out. The big in my 24-inch AR with 1 to 9 is basically 55 grain.
Yeah.
It's the 20-inch 1 to 8, which is kind of my project. And I'm looking at I want something that's going to be accurate and easy to get my hands on because I don't reload.
Yeah.
So it's not something I can go out and buy, components in volume. I've got to buy factory ammo and try to get a good deal on it. Good luck.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at, say, for a 1 to 8 twist, 20-inch, I want something that's going to be accurate at 400 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of stepping up 100, 200. I'll sight in at 50, then I'll go from there. But I'm looking at the 69 grain Federal Gold Medal match. I'm looking at the 75 grain Hornady Superformance in 5.56. I'm looking at the what's another one? Black Hills, the Mark 262, which is a military spec 77 grain open tip match. And believe it or not, something I found that's pretty accurate out of that rifle is the 62 grain green tip.
Really?
Yeah. So, everybody bought up all the green tip earlier this year when we had the so-called scare.
Yeah.
And that, which hasn't yet come to fruition.
No. Yeah, it became really valuable there for a little while.
It did. That's just it. Everybody that had inventory jacked up the prices on it. And you're thinking, it's one of those things. You're saying, I want to buy some guns right now, but this particular ammo that I think I should have is getting ready to go out the roof. I better go stock up. And so you allocate.
I heard that the government was getting rid of a bunch of green tip ammo, like they were selling a bunch of it. And it's kind of interesting that scare happened around the same time as that.
I missed that part.
Yeah, supposedly that the government was like selling, was getting rid of a bunch of green tip ammo, and it was a lot of it was hitting the market, the civilian market and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember that part now.
Yeah, so it's weird. It sounds silly to say, and I think I've said it before on the show, but sometimes I almost am like, is there like a conspiracy to get more guns in people's hands or something? You know what I mean? That sounds ridiculous, because how hard it seems like they're trying to take away our guns. But it's like everything that they do, basically, in the past, post crime bill sunsetting, let's see, it sunset in what, 2006?
2004.
2004.
Yeah.
Ever since then, it's like everything has gotten better and better and better and better, despite all the different scares, it varies state to state, but as far as on the national scale, like gun ownership has like just gone through the roof, from Obama being elected and all these different scares and shootings and everything that has happened or that the government has done to try to limit guns has had the exact opposite effect, basically.
But they'll tell you otherwise. And all that you were building up to is the crime rate is down. And somebody says, well, where do you get your data? Well, what about the FBI? You go look at the FBI site and you look at their data. I think we may have talked about this maybe a little bit on the last show, or I think we dreamed it or whatnot. But all those things you just mentioned, where there's more guns in people's hands, and the government and the media says, they put all the data out there, which is leading to more gun sales.
Yeah.
And more people who had never owned a gun before having bought one in the last 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Or maybe several guns.
Yeah.
I know people that are in their 20s, late 20s, early 30s, and so forth, that are friends of mine or friends of my family that I have got them on board with gun ownership. And most of them have gone out and got their carry permit. They practice. And some of these guys have bought 30, 40, 50 guns in the last 6 or 8 years.
Most people, I haven't really known anyone that got into guns and just bought like one gun. And they just have like 1 or 2 guns. Seems like people always get several.
Yeah, that's a good point. They don't stop at one. So you know that it just wasn't a fad thing for them, that they're really interested in it, for whatever reason. Yeah. Collecting, but primarily it's going to be self-defense and target shooting.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, it's interesting how much how much that has changed and how it's become more mainstream and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I saw it going the other way when I was growing up. When I was a kid, it just from stuff Dad would tell me and watching the news, it seemed like it was going the other way. By the time I was an adult, it was just going to be so much more difficult to get guns. But it's really just flipped around and gone the other way. Of course, we still got to keep the politicians honest and stuff, if it even makes, I don't know what, it's so confusing. The whole, the politics and the corruption and all that, it's so confusing when you really start looking into it. The deeper that you look into the government and, America's history and the different things that we've been involved in and the lies and corruption and all these kind of things, it makes it more and more confusing about like what is really going on and what the real reasons for so many events are. Like we were talking earlier about the Virginia shooting. That's another weird one. There's so many weird things, like the fact that they've made such a big anti-gun push over this incident where like 2 people were killed. Mm-hmm.
Which, that's too many.
It is.
But and it would really hit home if it was family or someone you knew.
Right, but people are killed like people are shot in the streets every day. Like in Nashville, at least one person dies almost every night, it seems like.
There are a couple of Nashville has gotten worse, and it's usually it's just a couple of different areas of town, north and south.
Right.
If you live in this area, that one of those traditionally has been always, as long as I've been around, and I've lived here all my life, which on the north side of Nashville has always, had some issues. But now it's the north and the south side or southeast side. So it's just, I'm not going to be politically correct. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But one thing, I don't want to say I'm tracking it, but it has a lot of data. Unfortunately, I wish the data wasn't there, but it's a couple of websites that are tracking the Chicago shootings. I mean, you talk about every night. We're talking 10, 15, 20 people killed every weekend.
Wow.
And it's worse during the summer. But there's a couple of sites that I check from time to time. It's like it just does not stop.
Yeah.
So you might have 20, 25, 30 different shootings of weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days. And have that many shootings, and you have so many people lose their lives. And then, of course, Obama, Michelle Obama, and everybody goes to Chicago, and they did this a year or two ago and said, we have all this gun violence in Chicago. This is why we have these problems. When you look at a map, and there's maps on these websites that show where the shootings are taking place, there are problem neighborhoods there. And I feel bad for the good people who live in those neighborhoods who have to put up with that crap.
Yeah.
So you've got that going on. But then these people who are talking about gun control and the lies and everything else, regardless of where it's coming from, the government or the media, they are not looking at the people involved. And it's typically folks who are 18 or less, 15 years old, up to about 24, 25, maybe 30 years old. That's the demographic.
It's because of organized crime. Like, they want to give you this idea that it's just a bunch of just regular people who, get angry and want to shoot somebody, or they have an accident or something. They want to like create that kind of feeling in everybody, by like with this thing with the journalists, making a big deal out of this, like holding this up as here's an example of all this gun violence that's happening. When in reality, almost all of it is, suicides count for the numbers, which is ridiculous. I think. I mean, it's a tragic thing that happens, but it has nothing to do with guns. I mean, it's just...
Well, that's a good point. They use that last part about the suicides, they use that in their issue with guns in the home. Whatever the figure is, they say
right.
that because there is the presence of a firearm in the home means that someone in the home is 35, 50, whatever % more likely to die at the hands of a firearm. You have a lot of guns. I have a lot of guns. Your dad has a lot of guns. Zeke, who was supposed to be here tonight, has a lot of guns to go with his zombie max ammo.
Yep.
I had to get that in there.
Yeah, everyone knows it's the best ammo that exists.
Oh my gosh, you're going to be sidetracked on that. But we can beat up on Zeke in a minute. Zeke was supposed to be here tonight, didn't make it.
It was. I even got gluten-free pizza for him.
Thank you for the pizza, by the way.
No
I'm
problem.
just checking to see if there's any on my teeth.
Coco's Italian Market, Nashville.
Yes, good promo.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
But what were we talking about? Oh, Chicago.
Yeah.
But you have these statistics, which is a bunch of crap that says you're more likely. Look at all the people we know. Look at all the people who are watching this, who are listening to this, who have, as you mentioned a moment ago, multiple firearms.
Yeah.
They maybe started collecting and shooting and buying firearms 30, 40, 50 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 2 years ago. And they're not the people who are causing the problem. And another thing that I like on some of these websites about Chicago, and they're updated every day, unfortunately, is that every one of these are gang related.
Yep.
But nobody seems to know what the problem is. So,
and also too, that I feel like is important for people to understand. When you hear gang related, you think, oh yeah, gangs, they're dangerous, they're ignorant, they just get mad and kill each other. Well, maybe sometimes, but that's not what it is. It's like, we have to remember, this is organized crime. Like these killings that are happening in these cities are a result of an illegal substance that is being traded, and you're talking about millions and millions of dollars being exchanged in these cities. So it's no different from a regular business, other than the fact that like they can't hire lawyers when they have problems with people coming in on their territory or whatever, so they kill them, And the problem, the thing that creates these, this gun violence is not the gun, and it's not human nature. It's simply a circumstance that the government created in the first place, and they're trying to clean it up and make themselves look good by, throwing good, honest people under the bus. And I'm tired of that. It's really annoying.
Well, so you mentioned that's the easy way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. They're going to throw innocent people under the bus because they don't have a solution.
Right.
One, I think they're smart enough. I know they're smart enough to recognize what the problem is, but they will not admit it, and they will not address it, and will not go after the problem. The easy way out is to penalize everybody.
Right.
Which is why why we had the AWB assault weapons ban. I mean, that started 1994, 2004. I may be wrong on this. Would be the first time today. I think there was a school shooting on a playground in Los Angeles. Someone can correct me on that.
Is it the one where the fire alarm was pulled and they all ran out? Is it that one?
That may be it. I think that was a big part of that because Dianne Feinstein from California, it was either in her district, obviously it was in her state, but I'm sure she was a big proponent behind the initial AWB. And I could be wrong on the incident that sparked it, but I think I'm in the ballpark. Anyway, so that sunsetted in 2004, and they'll come back and look at statistics. I'm kind of circling around here, and they'll say, well, we have too many guns. Well, look how crime has gone down. And then you can cite about the states that have carry permits and so forth that, crime is, you're always going to have crime. But it's not the people like you and I that are doing this.
No.
But we're the ones that get the crap and always get the blame. What's up with that?
Yeah.
I get tired of it.
Yeah.
And all I can do is say, I really try not to waste my time listening to that and listening to lies. I really focus on, looking for the data. The real hard data
math,
that will disprove what they're trying to tell me. So if I ever have a discussion with somebody on this, I'm going to say, here's my facts. This is where I got. Like that, I did that interview with the local CBS station 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Where we had the Second Amendment rally downtown.
Yeah.
And everybody left. And then all the TV stations showed up as this was wrapping up. One, it was very poorly attended for a lot of reasons. One, the weather. Two, the organization.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but
the first one was great. Were you there for the first one?
no, I mean I was traveling, but the second one I made that one.
The second one was, and then that was the one where like random people were just getting up there and talking and
and it's there's a couple of folks that posted a video of it. I've got a short video of it, but I didn't mind talking to the camera. I didn't mind.
Yeah.
I saw it as a challenge. I saw it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
And this was 2 months after Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
3 months. So it was early 2013. And I saw it as a challenge, and I'm, public speaking anyway, so I didn't have a problem with it. But there were 2 or 3 other folks that spoke in front of me, and I told the person from the CBS affiliate, I said, look, I want to go last. Just for a lot of reasons, sales presentation, whatnot. I want to be the last person in the room.
You want to headline it.
I want to be what they remember.
Yeah.
So, not that what the other folks said wasn't memorable, because it was. It was just I want to be the last person. So this guy really jumped in there and started asking questions, and I started throwing out facts. Oh, I never heard that before. No, you're with the media. You're not supposed to hear that.
Yeah, exactly.
But but the guy seriously was a good. I'm not even sure if he's still there, but he was fair. He did a good job with the interview. Now, my part of the interview got maybe 20 seconds when they aired it, but that was it. But the cameraman, interestingly enough, he kind of got in a little argument with one of the other people they interviewed and said, look, I'm a gun owner. I work for the media, but I'm a gun owner. I mean, I'm going to back him up.
Yeah.
He said, I'm a gun owner, and I agree with why all of you are here today, but my job is to report this, and we're going to be fair.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I was up at Rock Castle in Kentucky doing something up there not long after that, and he was up there shooting. He was for real.
Yeah.
The guy he
cool.
backed it up. I said, I recognize you. And he said, yeah, we interviewed you a couple of months ago. I said, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was the real deal. He was up there at Rock Castle, and that's pretty hardcore stuff.
That's one thing that I think will start happening now that guns are more mainstream, is that people like this guy, there'll be more people who get jobs like that in the media and stuff, and they'll kind of just naturally start infiltrating some of these institutions that are so known for being anti-gun.
I would hope so, but you could get me going all day long about the media and about the schools and academia that are teaching, quote, journalism.
Oh, yeah.
It's bull crap.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, you're looking at.
I'm glad.
I have some.
it's
I know. I
dying.
have some friends of mine that are in the industry, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be careful with that. But I'm not going to pull punches.
Yeah.
But I just look at what the journalism schools are teaching, and who is supporting as far as Soros and all these other guys, George Soros, who are supporting the journalism schools and saying, "Look, here is your curriculum. This is what we want you to be." You take your personality, you can throw it out the door. We want you to come in, and we want you to, this is the agenda we want you to have. And it's the anti-gun agenda, among other things.
There's a reason why they call it TV programming.
Oh, it is. It's very much,
know?
I was at my parents' last night, and my dad said, so they were watching something stupid. He doesn't watch the show, so sorry. He won't hear this.
Okay.
But he doesn't watch my videos either. But they were watching something really stupid on one of the big 3 networks or big 4, big 5 networks. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's like, let's just talk. I don't really want to watch this with you. I'm sorry. And they're, So we're talking, and he asked me if I'd seen a certain show. And I said, I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
I don't. If I have it on, it's when I'm traveling and I'm, working on the PC, iPad, whatever, and it's just on for noise. And it might be ESPN or something else for noise. But I just cannot watch it because you nailed it. It is programming.
Yeah.
And, of course, everything's programming. This is programming,
Right.
what we're doing right now. The YouTube videos, it's programming.
But it's programming on a larger scale and a much more like forced and orchestrated way.
You look at what you and your dad are doing. I mean, my gosh, the millions of views and people who are on board and people that are learning, and you're doing it in such a positive manner, as are a lot of other people who are doing this in a positive manner.
And everything, technically, every single thing that we do in life is we're programming our brain,
Right.
But that's what makes TV so dangerous is because TV, the people who create TV shows, especially traditionally, they know a lot about psychology, a lot more than the average person. And they use a lot of tricks and things like they use like even like the most subtle things about the way the graphics that are used and the shapes of things and the clothes that people wear and the colors and the sounds and the tones and everything are used to make like you more what's the word, suggestive, where like you're more likely to be agreeable, with what's being said and stuff like that. And also, have you ever noticed how when you watch TV it just makes you hungry, like you want to eat something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't watch it.
Yeah, it's weird.
You saw how much pizza I ate tonight without watching TV.
I know.
So can you imagine how it would have been if I was watching TV?
I know.
How bad that would have been.
I know. TV is weird. It's weird. I mean, I watch some shows, but I don't have cable or anything like that because I noticed the problem with cable is it's too easy. You just turn it on and you're just like, all right, what's on? And you're just like, I'll just watch this. Whatever comes on, I'll just watch this. And it's like you just turn your brain off. You don't think. You just let whoever's in charge of that show do all the thinking for you.
That's the problem right there.
Yeah.
You hit it 2 or 3 times. That's the problem I think people get into that trap where they're watching so much of that. They're watching so much of the programming that's polluting their head. I mean, there's some educational good stuff out there.
Yeah, there are good shows.
Know that.
There are good shows out there. Yeah.
It's just they are. I call it the signal to noise ratio, and I deal with it at work. 90% of my emails daily they're internal emails. I'm going, okay, great, thank you. I know this now. Let me move on.
Yeah.
But it's not that my customers don't want to talk to me. It's just that there's so much internal stuff going on that in our business changes every day. It's healthcare and medical, then we have to know this stuff. So I understand that. But I call it the signal to noise ratio, where when you look at the programming, and that's a good term, how much of that is really good, valuable, true, honest, useful programming versus all the junk.
Yep.
And I think it's difficult for people to break away from that. I don't want to get into politics, but you look at how people vote, and you look at, I don't want to go down this path so much, but there are 3,000 some odd counties in the U.S., and I saw this on a site talking about where you don't want to live if things really get bad, like we were talking about initially. Yeah. And of those 3,000 or so counties in the U.S., approximately, I want to say 200, 250 are the counties you don't want to live. And Nashville-Davidson County is one of those. And Memphis-Shelby County.
Yeah.
And then Atlanta-Fulton County. And you can look at them. But when you look at those counties on the U.S. map, And there's obviously a lot on the East Coast and down the West Coast in California. Those are the population centers. Those are the centers that have pulled in the presidential election, the last 2 rounds. So that's what's going on. And my point is, I think it's difficult for people to deal with the signal to noise ratio.
With TV.
Yeah, with TV. They're looking at all the options and looking at all the crap entertainment that's shoved down our throats.
It's designed to put you to sleep.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
And, we've been doing this for 40 minutes or so, and hopefully it's been engaging and thought-provoking or whatnot. But
that's one thing I like about, the new media stuff, like podcasts and things, YouTube videos. It doesn't have the sophistication and stuff that TV does. So it doesn't need it because no one really needs it. Like a lot of the stuff that you see on TV that makes you go, oh, this is professional. It's junk. It's noise. It doesn't actually do anything for you. It's like a lot of stuff that we're talking about.
It's too slick. And there's some YouTube gun channels that, production values are very high. They're slick. But I enjoy watching them because I like the people, number one.
Yeah.
They connect. I can connect with them. And it's not just some blowhard who's wearing a media hat.
And there's balance.
Everybody, you have an agenda. Your dad, you have an agenda. Everybody has an agenda, but the common agenda of the media is what's scary. And I think people are so overwhelmed with that, and it's difficult to free your mind and to break out of it.
Yeah.
And that's why you just keep accepting everything you hear and see as fact, and you don't seek out the facts. The facts are out there. If I can find it, anybody can find it.
Yeah, especially with news about stuff that's going on in like other countries and stuff. Like,
the migrant problem in Europe right now. Do you know what that's going to do to Europe? And they don't care.
Yeah.
Well, some of them do, but the leaders of the European Union are saying, "Oh yeah, we'll take 600,000 or whatever." Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Do you realize what that's going to do to your economy? I don't want to get into the cultural thing. Whatever, that's fine. It's just what that's going to do to their economy.
Yeah,
and the currency. With the euro already being in the toilet the way it is, let's just kill it.
Yeah.
That's a whole different topic right there.
And I don't almost trust anything I hear about world news because I've said this a million times before, and it's constantly tested and true every time for me personally, and most people that I tell. Every single time I watch the news and they're doing a story about something that I know about, that have some type of specific knowledge because it's something that I'm really into, or I knew someone involved in the situation or anything like that, every single time it is just horribly wrong. Just completely wrong, almost every time. But then when I watch the news about a story that I don't know anything about, I tend to go, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Well, it's just like I get a lot of notes from viewers and all, and I've kind of run across it myself where there is an Australian news network, and I want to say it's Channel 7. Some folks will probably know of that if you live in the UK or Australia. But I think it's Channel 7 or Network 7. They have, on multiple occasions, they've taken some of my video footage, lifted it off out of the video on YouTube, and anytime, of course, Australia and the gun laws and working with Steve Lee and all those folks, that they're archaic. And they had some mass shootings which set back their laws and so forth. But what Channel 7, I believe that's who it is, what they've done is they've taken some of my footage, and they've done it to other channels as well. Anytime they're talking about gun control or laws or so forth, there I am, and there was one, I went, oh my gosh, that was my 357 SIG Glock review.
Yeah.
And I'm out there just shooting targets and metal plates, but they incorporated that footage into a gun control story.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the deal here?
Yeah.
What's going on? So I sent them a note and basically wasn't very polite because I knew nothing was going to happen with it. But just let them have it. But you're right. It's the news. It's the same thing. And again, I mentioned George Soros. If you're not familiar with him, look him up. I believe he's Hungarian, and he underwrites. I guarantee you right now, he's underwriting one or more of the Democratic candidates, and he is a multi-billionaire. Yeah. So he's done well in life. I give him credit for that.
Yeah.
But I absolutely do not support his socialist views whatsoever. And he pours more money into the U.S., into the media, and all types of different research that we hear about and gets thrown out into that signal-to-noise ratio. And it's the noise component, not the signal, the truth. And those are the types of people who are quietly, although I'm aware of him, you're aware of him, a lot of folks aren't. You need to study this guy. He's probably in his 80s or whatnot, but even when he's gone, trust me, his network is secure, and it will live on for a long time. That's what we're dealing with.
How do you think things would be different, let's say, if elections were done differently? Like, what if there was no media coverage about candidates, right, on the news? You hear anything about it? All you got was this, like, official, like, people were allowed to, let's say, submit questions to all the candidates. And you just got this official list of all the different candidates, and there was no, like, sides. There was no Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green Party, whatever, Orange Party, whatever that is. Just no parties. Just here's the names, and then here's the answers to the questions that, like, maybe the top, whatever, 25 questions that the public wanted to know. And you just look and you just read and you pick the one who you like their answers the best. Like, how different do you think it would be? I'm not saying that would be the way to go, but it seems like the media almost has more say than politicians, because the media almost can choose the politicians that they want to be elected. It comes down to airtime. To me, I think a lot of times it's whoever gets the most airtime, ends up getting in office.
I think it goes beyond that too. By the way, this is some good antifreeze. I suggest you try that.
Oh, it does look good.
Sometime. It looks pretty good. A little warm, but it's good antifreeze. Mountain Dew. But of all people, Bill Clinton, I think, was actually quoted in saying this. Something about, and this is when he was president, so it goes back a little bit, that there's something, I don't remember what the context of it was, but he was asked about, I think maybe the media or the party, Democratic Party or whatnot, and something to the effect, there's actually something that we don't see as citizens that's underneath all that's really pushing this noise above the signal. So he basically implied, I think, if I read all this correctly, he was somewhat of a puppet. And you think about that. We elect them and so forth, and for better or worse. But even he said that there's actually there's another element out there. It could be the corporations. It could be Wall Street.
Yeah.
But there's a silent factor, and I believe it.
Yeah.
And I've tried to research it. There's something else out there that's really driving all this.
Yeah,
and
I think so too.
He said, I'm the president. That doesn't mean anything because there's something bigger than me out there. Was he referring to the Constitution? I kind of doubt it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was going to ask you a minute ago about world news before we get away too far from that. In world news and relative to self-defense and relative to shootings and everything else and guns and firearm, which is why people watch this, what about this huge shift to the 9mm?
Oh, yeah. I think
that opens Pandora's box.
I know. I think, maybe people are coming to the same kind of realization that maybe like people like me did. My take on 9 versus 40, let's say. My take on that situation is, yes, the 40, it's got a little more thump to it for sure, but I don't think it has enough to sacrifice the shootability and the capacity. Now you got these guys out here that can be like, 40, don't be a with your 9. 40, that's what you need.
Be a what?
Don't be a with that 9. But here's the thing, it's not about that. I hate it when I hear that kind of stuff, because it does not matter what level of a shooter you are. If you're one of the worst shooters or one of the best shooters, you're going to shoot better with a 9 than you are with a 40, because it has less recoil. Recoil is going to negatively affect your shooting almost 100% of the time. I'm sure there's probably some guy out there right now that's writing a comment that he has some weird story to tell me about how that's not true. But
no, it's okay. I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, well, maybe we'll see. But
your channel, you might delete it, but I'm interested in hearing all that.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Guy, just go ahead and make a comment.
Go ahead and crap all over the comments section, starting right now.
Yeah.
Right now. What about the 50-minute mark? Just go ahead and get started.
Yeah. But anyways, you get what I'm saying though. Like, you're going to shoot better with something that recoils less. It's just that's just how it works.
You're right.
And to me, the 9 is close enough to the 40 to where it makes it just so much better. I mean, you get better capacity. More shootability. It's still a really effective round that from your tests and stuff, right? I mean,
one of the videos I posted in the fall of 2014, I keep forgetting what year this is, I was looking at standard pressure 9mm ammo, and I think I did another one along that time frame, September, October 2014, looking at plus P 9mm. So I was focusing obviously on one caliber. It's my favorite. It's kind of part of the channel name. But I have right here, this is a Gen 2 Glock for the safety Nazis. Can I say that word? For the safety Nazis, it is clear. There's no magazine. John was showing me this. This has the Austrian proof marks, which I think is awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. It has the Austrian proof.
And I may buy it from him eventually. So
yeah, I decided I was all excited to buy that gun because for some reason I like the Gen 2 Glocks, but I don't enjoy the Gen 2 19 as much as I do the 17. Because where it has that little cut up on the grip from where the magazines weren't drop free and need that little extra space to pull the mag out, it hits me in a weird spot on my pinky, and I just don't enjoy the feel of them as well as I do the Gen 3. But that one was goes back to 89, so it's still got the proof marks on it.
You said you ran the serial number on it. That's awesome.
Yeah, 89.
I'm gonna bring it up here, and again, it's clear. Those of you that are watching as opposed to listening, so we are showing this. Camera stationary, so that's the best we can do on zooming in. But you talk about the recoil and the 9mm, and over the last 18, 20 years, I've shot so many different calibers. Of course, you have as well. Maybe not for 20 years. Well, maybe you have.
Well, but, actually, yeah. More than
you
20
have.
Years.
You were shooting when you were 6 months old, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
The 454 knocked you back, knocked your diaper off that day, but that was awesome.
Yeah.
But you talk about the recoil, and this is a point I actually made in our notes here. How many people, you talk about 9 and 40, so you get the 45, 357 SIG, whatever, 380, and the so-called quote-unquote major service calibers. The ones where you go in any gun store, I'm going to have to get rid of this antifreeze before I spill it. The ones where you go into any gun store and you find ammo or you find the gun or whatnot, different platforms, and the company's doing a great job of giving you different sizes. The compact, and this is my favorite, in the Glock. This is the 19, so I also have the 23. Well, I don't have the 23 anymore. I have the barrel for it, and I'll just drop that in the 32. I have 3 calibers, the same frame. Okay, that's kind of how I run.
Yeah.
A question for everybody out there. Are you one of the people who have gone from, say, a 45 or a 40 to the 9mm? So we're talking to you. So have you done that? Because I've always been a 9mm guy, but I'll be the first to admit, some people who know me well, I've shared this with them, I'll share it with all of you. I've gone through that path where, and I've done it even this past summer, I'll say, well, let's take the G32 out today and carry it. So I'll load it up. I found some really hot 125 grain gold dots from Georgia Arms. You're talking 50 rounds for $30 as of this production date. I'm thinking, you can't beat that. Yeah. And they kick them up to about 1,400 feet per second, which is where that ammo needs to be.
So they still make that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Dad used to buy that back in the day, I remember.
Yeah. The Georgia Arms at one time would come to the gun shows here in Nashville.
Yeah.
But any event, where I'm going with this, there is a point, and it's tying in with what John was saying a moment ago, is that the recoil, I have played with this frame. I mean, this is my pet frame, this compact. So hold it up for you, those that are watching. So with recoil 9mm, I mean, it kind of comes back like that. That looks kind of weird, but it kind of kind of comes back like that. With the 357 SIG, it's more of a push. Okay, you get that muzzle flip because you've got 500 some odd foot-pounds of muzzle energy, and the velocity 1,350, 1,400 feet per second or higher. With double tap, Underwood ammo, some of those guys. So with 357 SIG, more muzzle coming up on you than 9mm. Although some of the hot plus P's, more of the plus P plus is 9mm, you're getting the same thing.
Yeah.
Ballistics, they're usually lighter bullets in 9mm. That's a whole other discussion. 40, same frame, Glock 23, definitely comes up. Now I can control it, but I go through this exercise, and I have for the last 3 or 4 years that I've owned a Glock 32, which is this size. I'm thinking, is my caliber effective enough? As big a fan as I am of the 9mm, as much 9mm ammo as I've sent down range into a block and seen it and had to see that because I wasn't seeing that in videos or books or whatnot. That's why I started doing all that crap myself, and I've said that before. I had to see it for myself, and it's opened up some avenues, which I've also mentioned, of talking to people who've been on the street who've done that. So I tie all that data together. I'm thinking, yes, I can walk out today, as I have right now with the Glock 19, 16 rounds of 147 grain Federal HST. So I'm good to go there. But there have been days in the last couple of months, I'll take the G32, I'll take the G23 with 180 grain HSTs, and because I like the heavy for caliber.
Yeah.
And there's less recoil on the 180 than there is the 165s. The 165 gold dots are hot. The HSTs, not so much. But anyway, then you get into ballistics. We're not going to go down that road. But all that to say, the 9, I can take the same frame gun, same platform, and in less time, I personally, and this may be different for other folks, I am more accurate in putting more shots into the zone faster with the G19.
Yep.
G32 is a close second, 357 SIG. 40 is not bad.
Yeah.
But then, and I'll make videos for myself, kind of like someone, training athletics or pitching or batting or whatnot, and I look at how I'm shooting. I do that even to this day. And I'll take the video inside and going, okay, there we go. And then I'll look at motion and training. That sounds good.
It does.
Somebody will say, you shouldn't do the slide that way. Here, let's just let it. No, I'm not going to do that. You shouldn't do the slide that way. There it is. So, no magazine in there. You just ruined it. But
it's in pretty good shape for an old one.
Yeah, it is. It is in real good shape. I may actually buy that from you. But 9mm, the push seems to be with the FBI, with law enforcement agencies dumping primarily the 40. Mm-hmm. They're going with the Glock. They're going from say the G22 down to the G17, or they're going to the M&P, or whatever they're using. But
it's just, to me, the
ammo's effective. It penetrates just as deep, if not deeper. 147 grain, and all the tests I've done, different calibers, 147 grain, 9mm, standard pressure, 14.5, 15 inches penetration in block. And I know that in a person, it's different because you have bone and all these other factors.
But it still gives you a constant variable, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's the key thing about using a block.
Or consistent, yeah.
You have to have a consistent medium or media or structure for measurement.
Right.
You have to have, if you're consistent with what you're measuring, then you can look at your numbers and get some sense of what's going to be better or best.
Right.
And that's all it is. But again, I have to think, and I've shared this lately with a lot of people, is that I think gel results, whether or not it's SimTest, which I've used, or clear ballistics, or true 10% ordnance gel, the holy grail, I think what we see, regardless of who's doing the testing, it could be the ammo companies, it could be whatever. I think what we see in gel testing is probably at the extreme as far as penetration.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
As opposed to...
Because the body, you got muscle tissue and bone and...
35, 40 pounds of fat.
Yeah.
You see that walking out of Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, exactly.
So, especially around here.
Yeah.
But you think about it really, and you introduce bone, the sternum, that's a real heavy bone.
Yeah.
And I have access to a lot of anatomy products and things like that, so I've really dug into it and going, wow, I look at, this is the target zone is upper center mass, because you're hitting a lot of vital stuff right here.
Yeah.
And especially right in this area, if you're watching, I mean, everybody says, well, I'll shoot center mass. You can target shoot like that all day long, but I'm going to target shoot the way I would, train myself for self-defense. I'm going right here.
Yeah.
Right here, the thoracic triangle.
Yeah.
So to speak. But right here, you look at anatomy and the structure, you punch through that sternum, you're getting, you got the heart, lungs kind of right here, but you're looking at the major arteries that feed everything else and the spinal column. It's the zone. The
advantage of shooting up here too is because if you distress, you're likely to maybe pull it to the left or low or something like that or whatever. Then you've still got vital hits in that area.
Yeah, I mean you could incapacitate someone's arm movement or shoulder movement.
Yeah,
and if it's the arm or shoulder that has the weapon that they're coming after you with, then you've accomplished something there, which you're just trying to stop the threat,
right?
In whatever way.
Exactly. And one of the silly things that people will say is they'll say stuff like, "Well, you don't need that many rounds if you know how to shoot," or yeah, you can shoot fast, but can you shoot accurate? Which accuracy is important, but to me, it's a balance to me because the only thing that matters is the time between when that person was trying to kill you and the time that he stopped trying to kill you. Like, that's really the only thing that matters. So who cares if you did that in 3 shots or 15 shots, as long as you didn't hurt any innocent bystanders, and you did that, stop that as fast as you could. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna. I can't imagine myself in that scenario sitting there and be like, let me take this careful aimed shot. You know, I'm just going to be putting rounds, you know, basically as reasonably fast as I can.
And you probably won't pick up your front sight. That's
probably,
another thing that people say is that you really, you know, I have Trijicon HD sights on my Glocks now, which are fantastic, and they just absolutely light up. I mean, they literally are so bright. I noticed that last night.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm putting this thing up for the night. And I'm going, my gosh, these things are bright. Walking through the dark room.
Yeah.
But they're bright and they're great for the daytime. All that to say, that may not matter. So I spent $150 on Trijicon HD sights on at least right now 2 of my Glocks. And I'll continue to add to that, to my inventory, but it may not matter.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically, and that's another thing about tactics is point and shoot.
Yeah.
And tactics, you know, that brings up a question, and that's a whole nother like 2-hour topic is, what's more important, caliber selection, ammo selection within that caliber, or tactics? And
the balance of all of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
It's a balance of all of those. Which is more important? I don't know.
It's going to depend on the situation.
What's
going
to save your rear end if it comes down to that? It's probably going to be tactics. Like you said, how quickly can you get 3 shots in upper center mass?
Yeah.
The threat ceases. They drop the gun. They're out of the fight. That's it.
Yeah.
It's over. And you're thinking, well, did I just win that encounter because of tactics or ammo? It doesn't really matter. I mean, it does, but it's tactics.
That's why sometimes I hate it whenever, like, you'll get these comments from a guy. There'll be like a guy who, because sometimes they may be lying because it's the internet, but let's say you have a guy who's been in a shootout, you know, right?
Wait a minute. People lie on the internet.
Sorry, I didn't mean to spoiler alert, everyone. Sorry. I know you have to go home and think about that.
Lose a lot of sleep tonight over that.
Yeah. But people, because they've been in a shootout, let's say, which now obviously if you've been in a shootout before, you have a much more deeper insight into what that situation feels like than we have, because we've never been in a shootout, at least that I know of. I don't think you've been in one that I know of, at least. So, like, you're blankly staring at me like you have. Okay. I know you haven't. So anyways, like, those people sometimes will come on there and act like they are suddenly the expert because they've been in a shootout. Well,
they have on Call of Duty.
Well, that's right, yeah. But, okay, this person knows more than me about what it feels like to be in a shootout, but you're talking about a situation that's different. Like, every single time, it's always going to be different, you know? So just because you've done it one time doesn't necessarily mean that you know what's best for everybody in every scenario. You know what I mean? So those guys come on here and try to act like experts sometimes, and that, I don't know, it doesn't, I mean, I'm used to it because it's the internet. But if any of those people are listening, you know, I would ask them, you know, to remember that, yes, you may have been in a shootout, which gives you quite a leg up on understanding what that situation is like. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are an authority on what caliber people should be carrying or what gun or what kind of holster or any of that kind of stuff, you know. Well, you know, their input might be nice to know, but they're not an expert.
It's valuable, and unfortunately, someone who has had more experience, I say unfortunately, because you don't want anybody to have to go through that.
Yeah.
And there are some folks in law enforcement who've gone through it multiple times. Obviously not going to mention the gentleman's name or where he is, but there's a law enforcement officer that I've met in person several times. We communicate, we text every other day. We talk on the phone once every other week. He has shot numerous people in the line of duty, and and several of those didn't make it. I mean, several. He has not been hit himself. He's not been injured in these shootings. He is very proficient with a firearm. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
But we've had some conversations, and he mentioned one of our more recent dialogues that, one, you don't see the front sight. You can train, you can do this and this and this, and you're only going to, and you'll hear it a lot of folks, and there's different ways to phrase it, that in that scenario, you will perform at your worst level of training. Is it something along that line?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, because that's how it is. And like when I play basketball, I knew
I
that.
saw you play.
Oh yeah,
God.
yeah, I know. No, I knew that from anyone who's done anything sports or anything where you have to like you practice and then you do it in front of a bunch of people in
It's
a game.
different.
You're always going like I always knew this. My shot, however I shoot when I'm just practicing, it's always going to be like half that in the game. You know, always. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And the one thing he mentioned, and that's all I'll say about it. That's all I have to say about that. Steal a line from your dad, is he said the look of anger in that person's face who was trying to kill him.
Oh yeah.
When he likely this individual officer had his weapon already drawn and probably ready to fire, obviously. But he said in every case it just haunts him, the look of anger in that person's face, and just he saw distress, he saw hopelessness, he saw people who just did not care.
Yeah.
And it kind of circles back around, for better or worse, this kind of goofy dialogue we started out with tonight on the anger, which was all put on, obviously. I hope you understood that. But that's scary, that you really have to anticipate that, who someone is just done, they're fed up, they feel like they have nothing to lose. And it's one thing to draw down and try to shoot somebody in anger. It's another thing for somebody to think they're going to get away with it, doing it to law enforcement.
Yeah.
Which, you can open up that with what's going on these days that we're hearing about so much, which is just amazing.
And anger can be effective, which is why I would think in that situation you'd have to be as angry. Like I had a friend that was in prison for like a year or so, and he said that all the fights that he saw in prison, the person who won every single time was always just the one who was the most angry.
Man, I bet those were some serious beatdowns. I mean, really, you probably cannot see anything like that on the street. Well, you probably can.
Yeah, like about prison fights.
Yeah, I can just imagine. I really cannot imagine how bad a prison fight could be.
Well, he said that it's not like quite like you would think. It was more like they keep like the different gangs separated pretty well and stuff. And they put you in solitary if you cause problems and stuff like that. A lot of times it would be just because you got a bunch of people, a bunch of egos, and all just crammed into one space. He said most of the time the fights would be over stupid stuff like you took my honey bun, or like I'm tired of you playing your music next to my bunk, or or don't get your sweaty ass on my bunk. Stupid stuff like that, and it would become something more elevated just because everyone's all tense, just because they're in prison, and whoever got the most pissed, like whoever was the victim in the situation, usually won because they were like, "Hey, what? I didn't do nothing," and they get pissed, and I don't know how I got off on that, but
no,
I was just saying,
you threw me a curve.
You want to match the anger in that situation. That's my guess.
And I've now completely lost it when you said the sweaty ass thing. I'm telling you what, even in my household, if somebody puts their sweaty ass on my bed, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. That's it.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, shower that thing.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
We just lost everybody with that one.
We did,
but
we get what I'm saying though. I'm just saying, I'm saying is my guess, my estimation, is that I mean, if you're met with of course, someone's trying to kill you, it's going to be the ultimate, anger. And I would guess, at least, I don't know, but I would guess that you would want to match that anger. It's not a time for understanding, for sure.
Which makes you wonder, do you when you're training. When you're out there training with your firearms, are you practicing anger? Are you trying to say, okay, I've got my handgun, I've got my skills, I got my skill set and everything. I'm aiming at the wall, by the way, with an empty gun for people who are watching.
Don't let them lie to you. There's like five people standing right there.
I can throw a mag in here real quick, but that's just the wall over there in the chair. But I mean, that kind of brings up a whole nother. I mean, there's like all kinds of subtopics out of this.
Oh, I know.
And when you're training, okay, I'm going to take some target practice. This is, there's this AR-500 plate, 80 feet away. There's a paper target 15 feet away. I'm just going to practice, and I'm just real casual. No, I think you really need to have a mindset that, there'd be some awesome training videos, wouldn't it? That's what you and your dad need to do next time he's doing a handgun review. Just say, just for the first 30 seconds, we're going to film this review like I would on training, and just have him just pissed off,
Yeah.
and just wearing it out.
Yeah.
With some of the videos he's done, he's just wore out the time. He can't miss.
Of course,
Just depending on the gun. But I mean, you really have to. You almost have to have some semblance of what your thought process would be in your mindset.
Yeah. I don't know if you can train like the way
How do you get mad?
Well, the way I look at it is,
would you really want to do that?
Yeah.
Honey, I've been to the range. I'm really pissed off. Okay, I'm gonna go watch TV and eat pizza. I mean, come on.
Well, I don't know. Like, even though I said, that anger, I think, can help you in that situation.
But just don't have that anger when you go buy a gun.
Oh yeah, no, don't.
Because the well-trained people at the gun store, I hope, are looking for, this guy's a little, because you can tell this person's a little bit off.
Yeah.
And of course, I think they can refuse. Talk about the background checks coming way back around to that, or the waiting period. Can a gun store refuse to sell?
Oh yeah.
I thought so. It's just like refusing to sell a drink at the bar.
Oh yeah, they can refuse.
Happy hour's over, buddy.
They're encouraged.
Yeah, it's like happy hour's over for you. No more ammo for you. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me I can't buy any more ammo.
Yeah. I was
other than that.
It's weird. I was in a gun shop one time, and I kind of almost wondered maybe if it was an ATF plant. Or
Just
something
once?
like that.
Just one gun shop?
Yeah, one time, one gun shop.
About 3 hours ago.
Yes.
Okay.
No. And this lady came kind of storming in there. And she was like, "Let me see that one." And they had already had problems with this lady before. I didn't know this at the time. They can't explain it to me in front of her,
If I'm a customer, in that gun store and I see someone walking like that, I'm ready to go.
Oh yeah.
I'm
yeah.
We're casually positioning.
Yeah.
Tactically, like, okay, I want to get here where I'm out of her field of view.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's situational awareness.
Yeah. But she was like, and you've been in the shop before. She was like,
okay, you don't have to say it.
Let me see that one. Because they already knew they knew this lady was off already, but I didn't know. I was just there. I was just like, okay, this lady's intense. And then they wouldn't show it to her. They were like, just get out of here. No.
Yeah, what if she has ammo and she shoves ammo in the gun right there behind? That happens.
Oh, yeah. She could just run out the door with it or something. Yeah.
And or start doing something right there in the shop.
And they were like, no. And she was like, what about that other one? No.
Well, you think about it. You have to be a high level of desperate and stupid.
Oh, man.
If you're going to walk into a gun store and start some business, start some crap.
Yeah.
And when you
It'd be like walking into a law office and being like, I tripped on the way in here. I'm going to sue you.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
But apparently she had some story about like her daughter got raped by a bunch of bikers and she knew where they were.
Which is bad. That's bad.
If it's true. I kind of have a sense that it wasn't, but if it was true, that is of course horrible. But she wanted to buy a gun from them and go and like take them out.
Okay. That's
and she was saying that. She said that,
No. I mean, so she gets turned away, but what happens? So she goes to the next place.
Yeah, and of course they tell her
the background check.
Call
and what
the police,
do you do? And then she goes and does something stupid because somebody sold her the gun because there was no legal anything blocking them from selling it to her, if that's what all happened. And then it makes the news, and then you and I get squashed again.
Yeah.
That's the cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it works.
And, she easily could have gotten a gun. So that's why I almost think it was just an ATF thing, because she could have gotten a gun somewhere else. Why was she gone through all that trouble? Maybe she just wasn't right in the head. Who knows?
No. So I got away from it. 9mm. Good to go.
Yeah, what was I saying about
everybody shifting to that?
Yeah, I had something I was going to say about anger. Now I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, I was going to say that
if I make you mad, will you remember?
Yes. No.
Come over and step on your feet.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But 9mm, that's a whole topic. We did that on Talking Lead once with Zeke. Talked about 9mm. There's something for you down the road.
You talked about lead on Talking Lead.
Talked about slinging lead on Talking Lead, and we specifically focused on 9mm for that show.
What's the difference between flinging and slinging? Does some guns fling and other guns sling?
I view flinging as doing it with, say, a Jennings.
Yeah, there you go. That's true.
I'll stop there before I make everybody mad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went and shot with some friends one time, and they had one of these. I had a Jennings. I
did too. That's why it was right there in the front. Yeah.
I think it was a 9 maybe or a 380. I forget which one, but it was the first time I'd always, growing up, Dad teaching about safety. I'd always heard about, just drew a blank on what it's called, but where it it's like a delayed firing. What's it called? I can't think of what.
Well, it's kind of like your Flint video. What
Flinch
was it?
lock?
Flinchlock video
yeah.
you just posted.
I know it is like that. Well, I forget what it's called. Hang fire.
Oh.
So I'd never seen one in person before, ever. Never seen a hang fire in all the years I've been shooting. But I saw one with a Jennings. I mean, it was like a click, and then he turned and looked at us like, is this supposed to happen? And then it goes bam, it goes off.
Yeah, they turn the gun toward. Is this supposed to happen? They turn the gun at a 90-degree angle.
Oh God! Luckily, he knew enough to keep it, down range.
Yeah, I've seen that on indoor ranges, which I stopped doing that a long time ago.
Yeah, it's scary. But yeah, so you saw that, the flintlock.
There's another topic for you: the danger of indoor ranges.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all you have. There's your subject line right there. The danger of indoor ranges, but it might be all you have.
Yeah.
And it is for some people.
That sounds like a Jack Handy quote.
There's another topic for you. I'm just giving you ideas for future shows.
It's a good one. I like that. There you go. Luckily, they put armor plate usually in those.
Yeah, but I mean, I've just seen some idiots in there. It's like, oh boy.
I know. There's a lot of idiots. Oh yeah. Okay. The point I was going to make about anger, it's probably a stupid point, but I was just going to say when we were talking about that, I don't think that you can train to be angry. I think that there are certain elements that this is just, again, I want to preface it, this is strictly a theory, not from personal experience, just from observations, that when you're in a shootout, that's a personal thing. Like what makes someone good at at handling themselves in shootouts is a combination of two things, I think. One is your experience level, training, all right, the muscle memory that you have developed for yourself prior to that situation. And the second big factor is just stuff that you're born with. Like Wild Bill Hickok, for example. He was famous for being a great gunfighter because he was so cool under pressure. Now, he didn't train to be cool under pressure. You can't do that. That's what made him so good, was the fact that when people would, when he was met with a dangerous situation, he would just calm down. And he was able to take people out like it was target practice. So it made him so incredibly deadly, And I feel like this guy that there's an element of him that he was probably born with that aids in his ability to do this, along with, not to take away from his hard work, along with his training. There's probably some people who could do all the training in the world, but when it comes down to it, they're just not going to have what it takes. That's all I was going to say about that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with all of that. And this particular individual has a ton of training.
Yeah.
A ton of training.
And I think it's a balance of both. Like if you're lacking in one, you can make up for.
Well, and the desire to, you don't want to lose. You have a desire to win. And that's what the bad guy in that scenario, when the bad guy, says, I'm going to pull on law enforcement, it's like, you're an idiot. Then this is not going to go well.
Yeah.
But then the media, whatever, I'm not going to open that can of worms, but that's the bad guy has decided at that point in their life that they likely have a long criminal record, cycled in and out of the system, which is another joke.
Yeah.
And they're saying at that point, I have nothing to lose. I'm going to draw down on this person. I'm going to draw down on this law enforcement officer, and I'm going to keep shooting.
Yeah.
Because I know I'll probably get shot.
Yeah.
But I'll look good in the media.
Yeah.
So
scary situation to be in if you're in law enforcement, and it's getting
really
scarier and scarier all the time for cops right now.
There was something, a couple of stories I'm sure some folks have seen in the last couple of weeks, is that recruiting for law enforcement.
Yeah,
a lot of agencies is down because folks are saying, I don't want that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And it's like
I'll just, I'll join the Marines or something, but I'm not going to I'm not going to or go serve the National Guard, but I'm not going to go out there in law enforcement.
And
I think that's really, really, really bad.
Oh, I know.
I really do.
Because of all these situations that have happened, and some of them obviously are, very unfortunate events that have taken place where, law enforcement has behaved like improperly or whatever.
There are some cases where they have.
Yeah, there are.
I'm sorry, but there have been.
But these situations are not on the rise. What is on the rise is the media attention that's been given to them.
Bingo. You're exactly right. This has been going on forever.
Yeah. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a good thing. I'm like, police need to be behaving properly, but some police are going to make mistakes. Like there's a bad side of everything, now, tell that to the families that are victims. I get that part of it,
And this all fits into that signal to noise
right
equation.
Exactly.
That why do we keep hearing about this for days and days and days? The media waiting for something else to happen.
It's hot right now.
Another Virginia, another shooting, another something that's negative.
Yeah.
That is all these different topics that fuel that single agenda. That's the noise element of this to distract us from what we really need to be focusing on.
It's like Derek.
That's how I feel about it.
Derek from my show, it's like he always says the news is 3 things: sex, violence, and the weather.
What channel are you getting the sex on? My news doesn't have that.
It doesn't have that?
I don't watch TV. I'm sorry.
I don't either,
I've
actually.
already said that before. Yeah.
I don't either. Like, I don't watch TV so much that, like, I was at a comedy show the other night, and one of the comedians was making a joke about, he said that aliens had landed. And I was like, I had to, like, look around at everyone's reaction to make sure they weren't just like, oh, yeah, that sucked when that happened the other day. Just to make sure that, like, that hadn't actually happened, because I don't watch it really.
Well, that could probably happen, and you're right. No one would know it or take it seriously because we're too focused on what the Kardashians are doing and what Caitlyn Jenner's doing or whatever her name is or its name is, and so that's important right now.
Yeah,
I'm just tired. I need to have the news, and all of us need to have the news. I am tired of seeing what is being forced to us. We don't have to take it.
Yeah, that's why
people
I
like you and I and folks that are paying attention to this don't take it. They generally say, that's humorous, that's interesting. Maybe I can get something out of it. Use it for conversation around the water cooler or whatnot, the lunch table. But still, that's not what I am. That's not what I'm looking for to improve myself and to improve the lives of those around me.
Yeah,
It's just counterproductive to all of that.
Yeah, unnecessary
but
negative.
Too many people don't see it though.
Yeah. Exactly. It's unnecessary negativity.
You've got it figured out. That's it.
Yeah, it just like I don't think people realize, people look at the human body like it's this ultimate fortress. Like we're in this fortress of a body.
Well, that's how I've been described.
It's true. Okay,
you are
a fortress of a body.
I am the ultimate fortress.
But people look at it.
Ronda Rousey has nothing on me.
Oh, she's terrified of you.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, but people think of our bodies and being human as like that. We are a fortress, but it's not true. Every single thing that we take in through our eyes, everything we eat, every single thing that we do that we take in through our body, it affects us either in a positive way or a negative way. Like about food. That what's that saying? Trash in, trash out. It's the same thing about the thing. It's the same applies to what we see. When we look at trash all day, what are we gonna put out? Trash. You know what I mean?
Right now I am feeling Coco's Italian Market and a heavy dose of caffeine. Yeah. I think people figured that out in the first 20 seconds. What is he on tonight?
Yeah.
It's caffeine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good drug.
There's more of it over there.
Yeah.
I'll have to let you talk for a second so I can stock up.
Okay, let's see.
Stock up on the...
Well, I guess actually we probably talked too long enough. It's been an hour and a half so far, so
yeah, right at
I guess we'll wrap it up. Dude, these are always great shows. We got to do this more often whenever you're in town and you got time. People loved the last one. That was one of their favorite shows. Was you on? So
I've gone back and get tangled up here. I've gone back and looked at the comments on that, and I really like what everybody's saying. There's some good points, and I'm just glad it was a lot of things we said that night with the two of us and your dad. What's his name? Hickok. Yeah. We were. It just rolled. It just really did.
Oh, it was so much fun. Sometime I've got to get you on with Derek. We'd have a lot.
I've never met him. I'd like to do that.
Oh, he's an awesome dude. You'd love him. Yeah, he's great.
Let's try that sometime because we know Zeke's not going to show up.
Oh, he was probably loading Zombie Max ammo to his.
I swear he carries that. I think the first Talking Lead show I was on a couple of years ago, we talked about ammo.
Yeah.
And everybody in the room, there were 3 or 4 of us on the show that night, sitting around a table, all the microphones, and of course, most of that's not on video. It's just podcast.
Yeah.
And they were giving me bullets and saying, "What ammo is that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was nailing it. Caliber easy, but the type of bullet and the manufacturer thing." And Zeke put his up there and said, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?" I saw the green. I said, "Are you carrying Zombie Max ammo?"
Yeah.
Zeke from SDI carrying zombie mags.
Yep.
That's just the most disgusting thing. Of all the disgusting things we've talked about tonight, including the sweaty you-know-what, that ranks up there.
It does.
I'm sorry. Zeke carrying the zombie mag. Zeke, I know you're going to probably tune in because you weren't here tonight for the pizza and so forth. Called out on us, but dude, the zombie mags has to go.
It does. At least he doesn't have a zombie gun of some kind. Like those.
He probably does.
Who was it that made the zombie shotgun or something that had apparently neon green is like the official zombie color.
I have no idea.
Is it like deer hunting? Like you gotta have like
I don't know.
a bright color,
I think we said at some point we're going to beat him up, and I think we've done a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, I think so.
He's sitting there right now thinking, man, I should have showed up, and you bought him a gluten pizza and everything.
Yeah.
And you even tasted it.
And it was horrible.
Yeah. I'm not, no.
Yeah. I've had some gluten-free pizza that's not bad, but that one, I've had better.
No. And that place makes good pizza.
Oh, man.
They really do.
Yeah, Coco's Italian Market in Nashville. I think they have, I don't know if that's their only location. I think they have like another like small thing. I don't know if they have pizza though somewhere else. But
they're not a sponsor, are they?
No, they should be.
We're just saying they're really, I mean, if you live in the Nashville area, if you live in southern Kentucky, I'm telling you, it's I think it's worth an hour drive to come in and eat it. And they have they have out front? It's not racquetball. It's
bocce ball or something?
Bocce ball or bocce ball or whatever.
Bocce ball.
Break your balls. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Just go into Coco, say we want to play break your balls, and they'll give you some, and then you go out there, and it's kind of like lawn bowling.
Yeah, and if you're looking for someone to rob, what you do is you ask just anyone that you see in that area. If you want to rob someone, ask them like, do you know how to play that game?
And are you carrying 9mm?
Well, no, ask them, do they know how to play that game? And if they say yes, then you know they don't have any kind of weapons on them whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you can just take whatever they have.
And it's interesting to play that game while you're carrying. It is because the motion, you're bowling. Yeah. And there's yet another topic. Bowling while concealed carry.
It's true.
And not drinking.
You know what? I had this test.
That's awesome.
That's right. Yeah. You know what? If you think your carry setup is good, you know what at least if you're trying not to print or show your gun, know what the ultimate test of your carry system is?
Batting cage?
No, it is getting a big bag of dog food and putting it on the bottom of the grocery cart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a tactical thing. Do you take? You can pull it off. A lot of folks can with one arm. So then do you position, this is very important, do you position the bag of dog food with one arm where you kind of put your hand over your shirt or whatnot? So you could make a video.
I could.
You could make a 30-second video that would go viral. How to put 50 or 75-pound bag of dog food onto the bottom of a shopping cart while carrying a full-size weapon.
That's true.
And a machete. So
appendix.
That's a great idea.
If you do appendix carry, then you're going to have a bruise in your upper thigh. And if you do like small of your back carry, then you're going to have full on gun cleavage.
Gun cleavage.
Yeah. And then if you're just carrying inside the waistband on your hip, depending on how you do it, probably be okay. I mean, I've done it before. I'm pretty sure there's almost no way to do it without printing or showing.
It's if you're not going to do it, someone out there who's watching or listening who has a YouTube channel or just wants to take a camera and just make some viral videos, that's how you do it. You might make just one video and it would go viral, and it could be a minute and a half because most people's attention span, most people turn this off, about an hour ago? But I
think most people's attention span is like at least an hour and 37 minutes.
Yeah, at least we hope it so they can get to this point. But someone can make one single video, and it could be a viral video of the different athletic activities you can perform very well and successfully without revealing that you are concealed carry.
Huh.
So you think of a golf swing, shooting a basketball, the batting cage. There'll be some that are really lame, like putt-putt.
Yeah.
Because I always carry when I'm playing putt-putt. I mean, that's the place you really need to be carrying.
It's dangerous out there.
That's another thing. The places you are most likely to need to be carrying, which is all the time.
Yeah.
But, how do you handle the rest area on the interstate? How do you handle that?
Yeah.
That's a great video idea.
It's true.
That would be disgusting, but it's a great video idea.
Yeah.
If you know some people that, drive 18-wheelers, get them on board in the video, and they could be anonymous.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah.
You're thinking about
We'll
it.
have to do this.
You're thinking about it.
Yeah, I think this is going to happen.
You don't want to wreck this channel with something like that, but you could have a sub-channel.
Yeah, that's true.
You could have a sub-channel with just crap.
Yeah.
But it would be really, really good stuff.
Yeah. Or just have a sub-channel and then do a sub-channel of that channel. Just let it
That's
get crazy.
probably a good idea, is to hide it as far down the pecking order as you can.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to make 6 more YouTube channels accountable to this channel,
And
so the views roll up.
Promote them on each one, so that way by the time you get to the last channel, it's only like the people who really, really want to see it.
Yeah, this is the Hickok 45 and Son channel. We're going to cross-pollinate for all our crap channels that we maintain.
Yeah. Here's the list, and it just like runs really fast. There's like 50 of them.
Cross-pollination of crap. That's how you get through the signal-to-noise ratio, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
It is all cross-pollination of crap.
Yeah.
There, I won't even ask for money for that. That's what it is.
Yeah. All right, we'll close on that.
Okay.
All right, we'll do it again soon.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.